Titchmarsh.
Thank you. Oh, you're very kind. Oh, a quick surge. Hello, welcome to the show. Coming up, our tribute to that classic game show made famous by Bob Monkhouse. I am, of course, talking about The Golden Shot. Do you remember Bernie the Bolt? Yes! Oh, well, he's here, or our own version of Bernie the Bolt, standing by. But we have something that the original version lacked, a health and safety department. So, instead of firing a real crossbow, we have a considerably less lethal version. So, we'll be calling in Bernie the Sucker. There he is. So, in true Golden Shot style, let's meet today's guest. He recently caused a stir when he said his son shoots squirrels for the kitchen table. Let's turn the sights on him. Up a bit, right a bit, right a bit. Stop. Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. Next in the lineup is a regular on Mock the Week, and Would I Lie to You says the secret to comedy is simple. Just point out your own flaws and let other people laugh at them. Right a bit, right a bit, right a bit. Stop, it's Mark Watton. Also coming up on today's show with the latest weird and wonderful kitchen gadgets destined to gather dust in the kitchen cupboard. Left, left, stop, left, 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 stop. Ollie Mann. Plus, from Mother's Ruin to Trendy Tipple, why gin's back in favour in a big way with our resident booze expert. Down, 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 down. Stop, it's Helen McGinn. It's nerve-wracking, that, isn't it? What a show. So let's start things off with a multi-award-winning writer and broadcaster, widely known for his uncompromising commitment to seasonal, ethically produced food. He's taken on the fishing industry, changed the way we buy chicken, and now he has a new message for us. Please welcome Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. Welcome here.
Hi, Alan.
So, a new message to us all now. What's the new message?
Well, I think that the best message, and I hope it's a message that comes across in all my cookery books, in all my shows, diversity is what good eating is all about. Lots of different ingredients, work with the seasons if you can, lots of fruit and veg, obviously. But for this new book, there's a couple of ingredients I've put on one side. Not forever, they're still part of my diet, but when I decided to do a book of recipes that were essentially very healthy and very easy to put together...
Yeah, you've called it light and easy. So
River Cottage Light and Easy.
There on health, yep.
I wanted to do a baking section with a few puds and treats and sweets and biscuits. And I thought, well, I want to make... for people who have intolerances or allergies to wheat and dairy, I want to make this useful for them. And my first thought was to include quite a lot of recipes that are free of those ingredients. And in the end, I thought, actually, I'll just make the whole section wheat and dairy free. And it was actually a great sort of stimulus to explore new ingredients and different culinary oils and work with rye flour and buckwheat flour and so actually what I discovered was a whole new raft of tastes and different ingredients. So that was a real adventure.
Is it my imagination? Have we really got now more intolerances, allergies than we ever had? And if so, I'll ask you what that is in a minute.
We'll come to that, will we?
If so, why? Or is it... have we just got a name for everything nowadays? Did we used to have wheat intolerance and, you know...
I think the word intolerance, that's more of a linguistic thing. And, of course, there are people who are seriously allergic to some ingredients, and I hope this book will be very useful for them.
But more so than they ever were?
I think one of the problems is food is more refined than it used to be. It has often more additives, more processes, and as we denature it, we make perhaps the human body a little less able to cope with it. And I think the other thing that we struggle with is eating the same thing over and over again. And if you think how wheat flour and dairy to a certain extent, but also sugar, has come to just be so present in our diets all the time. If we can just knock back a bit or put them on one side for a while, which is what I've done. And in fact, I was talking to Ollie just before the show. He's lost an awful lot of weight. He's looking like a super fit human being. And he told me that one of the things, well, pretty much the only thing he'd done with his diet is stop eating wheat. Basically, end of end of pasta and bread and just carry on with everything else and explore the world of vegetables a bit more. And he's looking a picture of health.
I thought he was going to say wine for a minute. That would have been very sad, wouldn't it?
That's definitely still the very best accompaniment to a good meal.
We're so antiseptic now. There's a Yorkshire saying, you know, you'll eat more than a peck of muck before you die. In other words, you know, when we pick things from the garden, there might still be a bit of soil on them.
Yeah.
Our antibodies, it seems to me, are shot to pieces nowadays. We're all so clinically anaesthetised from any kind of muck at all.
I agree, and it might seem that my book is a sort of reaction to the fact that we can't cope with these things, but actually it's more about let's get back to a more holistic set of ingredients. Let's use natural oils, let's use whole grains and flours made from those whole grains. Let's not feel we have to strip everything down so that it's just white sugar and white flour and everything, you know, concentrated into...
Common sense, really, isn't it?
I think it
have
is.
a broader, more balanced diet. You're very hot on the campaigns. I mean, the one you did on fish yielded huge results in terms of not, you know, this throwing back 50% of their catch. You worked on chickens, you know, which made some of the supermarkets change their techniques. What's next? You're a born campaigner, clearly, and feel very passionately about food. Well,
I've still got a few fish to fry, if I can put it like that. We have seen a change at the European level of this crazy law whereby thousands of tons of perfectly good fish is thrown away because it's over quota. And that system of discarding fish at sea is being phased out from next year. A lot depends on how well it's done. We'll be keeping an eye with our campaign, the people who are fellow travellers on the campaign. We've had 850,000 supporters for the campaign, which has just been fantastic. And that's why we've seen this change. So that's still ongoing. I have got another bee in my bonnet, Alan, something that I'm going to hopefully be stepping up and addressing quite soon, but I'm not quite at the point where I can reveal what it is. I'm sorry about that.
But we've not seen the last of you campaigning yet on
You certainly have not, no.
Well, we've not seen the last on the other programme either, because it's going to make you cook something from that book. Is that all right?
Looking forward to that.
Because a lot of the recipes are 20 minutes, and you've really worked hard to make sure you can do them in 20 minutes.
They are 20 minutes for relaxed people cooking at home with a glass of wine in their hand with no special skills.
That's my kind of person.
Do you fit into that category?
I do indeed. Well, actually, my wife does. No, not on the wine front. On the relaxed... Oh, I've got into a can of worms now, haven't I, really? Yeah. Hugh's book, Light and Easy, is out now, and he'll be cooking for us, as I said, a little bit later, but he's much more excited, actually, about playing the golden shot.
I certainly am. Can't wait.
Your time will come, but for now, my thanks to Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now then, after the break, these kitchen gadgets here will be a must-have for any kitchen, or will they? Won't they just actually be gathering dust next to the toasted sandwich maker and the fondue set within the week? These and more after the break. Back in a moment. Why comedian Mark Watson describes himself as an over-ambitious lunatic. We embrace nostalgia when I don my glittery jacket to host another classic game show. This week we're playing the Golden Shot. Time now to spare a thought for all those kitchen gadgets left languishing in cupboards around the nation. Remember how you thought you couldn't live without that fondue set? Or the toasted sandwich maker? Used them once and then abandoned them? Well, it's time to review the very latest, very useful kitchen gadgets, but are they destined to end up in some forgotten corner of a cupboard, or will they take pride of place on the counter? Let's find out with our very own kitchen gadget connoisseur, Ollie Mann. Welcome. I've got a little list of the ones that have been ditched, and the one that is most ditched, most put in the cupboard is, strangely, the toasted sandwich maker. I thought more people would have used that.
I feel, you know, this is a poll of viewers of the Alan Titchmarsh show, and who'd have thought they'd be so discerning that they'd make their own toasted sandwiches and not rely on a sandwich maker? I'm very disappointed.
Both of them were quite vociferous about that one. Then after that comes the bread maker, the ice cream maker, the fondue set, corn on the cob holders. I use corn on the cob holders.
So do I. Well, actually, I think this is a crucial point. When it comes to kitchen gadgets, out of every technology item that I write about, every category that I ever write about, I think kitchen gadgets is the one that really can provoke a massive divide, even in the very same product, because one man's junk is another man's treasure. There really are people out there, perhaps it's you, who uses your SodaStream or your George Foreman grill every day. There are other people who say, that goes in there and never gets seen again.
Stays there.
So I really think it depends. But do remember, the kettle, the toaster, the dishwasher, the coffee maker, they were all unnecessary luxury items until they became kitchen essentials.
But do you think we can do without one of these?
Once you've used one, Alan, I'm assured.
Do you want me to put it
You'll
in?
say that, go on.
This is an apple... Now, I have to say, this is in our kitchen.
Oh, there we go.
It is indeed in the cupboard, but it's ever so...
Safety catch?
Health
and safety.
Oh, I didn't do the safety catch. Right.
OK.
There we go.
Now, it peels and cores. There's the peel. Are you ready?
It's very clever.
Here comes the coring.
It's
Bit of
taking off
force.
let go of that.
Oh, OK.
It's taking off too much apple, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. You see, if you keep that held down, keep your safety catch down, you lose all your blooming apple. Oh, no, but you get these nice apple rings if you keep the safety
They say
catch
you can use that for peeling other vegetables as well. And then you have your peeled, cored apple done.
Look at that. Isn't that clever? Whee!
And a lovely set of earrings.
I quite like that. I'm going to get mine out the cupboard now, because it is good. OK, hot dog toaster. Look at this.
Do you know, I think probably the most depressing thing about the hot dog toaster that I read online is you see the reviews and people say, since we got one of these, I can now say, I've had a busy day at work and my husband can cook the dinner. How depressing is that?
That's
really what you can cook if you're a
it?
man. 2 buns and 2 sausages in a toaster.
It's a bit insulting to a bloke. I'm going to let it cook and see if it pops up. When the smoke comes, will you shout it's behind you? We got a sushi bazooka.
Yes.
What is a sushi bazooka?
I apologise in advance to any Japanese people watching. Because I think this is probably the equivalent of saying to Italians, you must try stuffed crust pizza. But basically, if you layer rice around your filling, it then comes out in the form of a giant gun. Sushi.
Look at that.
So no rolling, no cutting, it's all done in this plastic...
tube.
Delightfully designed feature. Yeah, probably going in the cupboard with that one.
Right. Polaroid cheese slicer.
That hasn't turned up?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
nobody told me.
that.
It's on my
Sorry.
list.
If you want to Google it, you can get a cheese... Just what everyone needed.
Yeah.
A cheese slicer in the shape of a Polaroid camera. So when you're slicing the cheese, it develops the cheese as a film.
I'm imagining it's here, right? OK.
Yeah, it's probably... Yeah.
Right, fine. Chilled...
Oh, it's
look.
ready. Excellent.
Well, it's a bit underdone. I mean, it's... Yeah, OK, I'll put
But
it
you've
in
got to
again.
have the onions and the relish, Alan. You
Oh,
can't
yeah,
just use it
OK.
naked, yeah.
Chilsner.
Now, actually, this, I think, is quite cool. I prefer the wine-size one.
Yeah.
The same company make these with a polymer that you put in a bottle of wine, because cooling a bottle of white wine, genuinely, when it's been open for an hour, is quite a challenge.
Yeah.
For beer, I'm not sure. But the Chilsner is, you keep this in the freezer, heats up this aluminium tube, you take a sip of beer, you then put it into the top of the beer...
You're taking a sip of beer to take some out so it doesn't overflow.
Exactly. Well, and because it's, you know, quite refreshing.
Yes, OK.
And then it is cooling the beer from inside, is the idea. So it maintains a steady temperature and doesn't dilute it, whereas ice would. And you can even drink it through the hole in the top without taking the thing out.
I think on a hot picnicky day, maybe I'd allow that, because there's nothing worse than warm beer. I'll leave that one on the worktop then, OK.
Not with stout, though.
Not with...
Absolutely not with... You can't do it with proper ales, can you?
No,
So there's
only
nothing
with
worse than
lager. I'm
yes,
talking
indeed.
about... Yeah, yeah, fine, OK.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a very strong smell of sausages here, by the way.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
it
we
comes.
go. Yeah.
Still not brown. It's just on one... Oh, look, it's pleasantly burnt on one. No, that's fine. I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. I've lost a sausage. Okay. I've lost a sausage.
You lost a finger, then.
I did it. I burnt my finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing there?
Right. You can't burn yourself on this. Oh,
That's all right, go on.
This is a herb saver. So the idea with this is if you're making one of Hugh's lovely recipes,
yes,
you buy yourself 3 packets of herbs because you've got to chuck them all in and you don't need to use all the herbs. You do have that issue, a lot of people, where it wilts or, you know, it falls apart and you don't know where to put it in the fridge. So the idea with this is you put it in this little chamber. It's a bit like that Woody Allen film Sleeper, isn't it, or Austin Powers?
I've got a better idea than that. It's called a garden.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. I thought you might live in a flat without a garden.
We've got to do that very quickly, which is... So what...
This is great. This is the Philips air fryer.
Yeah.
And what it does is it actually fries chips. These are chips inside, which one I prepared earlier. You use 1 tiny spoonful of oil, half a spoonful of oil, and it cooks chips just using heated air, 1.5% fat instead of 14% you'd get from deep frying.
That is astonishing. All right, well, for details of all the gadgets we featured Visit our website, itv.com/Alan. My thanks to the man who can find an automated alternative for every situation, Ollie Mann.
Thank you.
Oh, very good.
All right.
Very good. I'm still off my sausage. Disappeared. Now, time to welcome the comedian. I shouldn't have eaten a chip before I did this.
Sorry, it's my fault. At least I didn't give you the full sausage.
Staged 24-hour gigs and says he was once nearly murdered by an angry audience in Maidstone. Fortunately, my crowd's in a great mood, aren't you? Yeah! So give a warm Titchmarsh welcome to Mark Watson. Hello, Mark. Lovely to see you. Have a seat. Now, this is...
I'm all right. How are you? Is your hand all right?
Well, I burnt my finger. No, I shouldn't have put it in a hot dog maker. It's a fairly basic...
That is
if
the main
you have one
lesson
at home,
that emerges
children,
from
don't
that,
do
I
it,
think,
isn't
yeah.
it, Elizabeth? Now, you've got the most scary job on earth, then, really, Mark, standing up in front of all these people doing this one.
I don't have to shove my fingers in a hot dog maker. It's just odd, the number of people that regard it as a scary job. Because in a way, I suppose it is, but I'm quite used to it. And not long ago, I did a radio show with a neurosurgeon, a renowned neurosurgeon, who was talking about how he has to, you know, cut into the brain and hold someone's brain in his hands. And then just before we went on stage, he said, being a comedian must be terrifying. I thought, I don't particularly want to rip someone's brain in half. So I always think that the worst that can happen is that I'll look bad. Whereas in some jobs, you actually have responsibility for other people's lives. So, you know, it's less scary than some jobs, I think.
You're calling this new show Flaws, as in F-L-A-W-S?
Yes, it's not about the floor.
No, not about lino or carpet.
No, there wasn't a whole show in that in the end. It's 10 minutes of good stuff about lino, and then it sort of peters out.
Whose flaws are they?
Mostly mine, actually. I tend to spend a lot of my act talking about my various inadequacies. I think that comedy sort of works better if you can see people's weaknesses, and everyone prefers it when things go wrong in comedy, I think. You know, there'd be not much sort of fun in me just going up on stage and saying, well, everything's going well. So I've sort of mined my own problems for this show, as I do for most shows, really. I was thinking this year that I've been doing comedy for 10 years, and a lot of that time has just been sort of messing things up and then telling strangers about it for their entertainment. That's my life.
Well, it's a bit different in a way, because a lot of the old comics were terribly aggressive, and they almost harangued their audience. So in a way, you sort of turned that in.
Yeah, I'd rather harangue myself, I think. Even now, you often see comedians really attack audience. And I've had people say, I don't really go to live comedy because I'm too scared of what would happen if I sit in the front row, which is a shame. It's a shame to think of someone paying their money and then sitting there cowering when the act comes on stage. I sort of feel like if anyone is the victim, it should be you. You should make yourself vulnerable rather than sort of preying on your audience.
So what happened in Maidstone?
I don't talk about it, but I'm still in counselling. We've moved on. It's hard to describe. There was no specific trigger. Like, I didn't do anything particularly to make them angry. They just... The sight of me made them angry. I know. Can you imagine? I would say that hardly anyone's angry that I'm here. If anything, they're sort of looking forward to another bit of the show, but they're not angry. I think the problem was... I was very young. I was much younger. It was very early in my career. And at that point, I had no real idea how to handle a sort of... furious. I think there were people that just lived their lives in a state of fury, really.
Oh,
it was a Friday night, everyone was quite drunk. Yeah, they started throwing stuff at me. And coins, but not very high denomination coins. It wasn't even as if I could sort of collect 100 quid in change and then walk away. It was quite frightening. I was 24 at the time, and I had to go back to the same venue the next night as well, because I'd been booked for the whole weekend. I can't say I was looking forward to it much the following day. The next day, I went back, did the gig, which didn't go particularly well, but at least they weren't throwing things. And as soon as it was over, I walked straight out of the club and didn't even get paid. Just went to the... I couldn't get on the train quick enough. I walked straight out to the station.
Get out of Maidstone as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, even then, though, on the train was someone else that had been at the gig, and they just stared at me for the whole time. I half expected them to still be in my house when I got back there. Yeah.
And you say this isn't a hard life. Gosh, it seems hard enough to me.
I remember after that thinking I better either become successful as quickly as I can or just give it up. Yeah, that was a sort of turning point for me.
Well, you've got another string to your bow. I mean, you are an author, from the author of 11, Mark Watson, Hotel Alpha. So what sort of novels, obviously, but what would you describe your genre?
Well, they're not really comic novels particularly. They're kind of quite... this is a book about a London hotel over the course of 30 years, and it's partly about the internet and computers and just the way the workings of time affect this concierge in this hotel. I tend to use the novels to explore themes which I maybe wouldn't have a chance to on stage. Some comedians write books which are, you know, very, very similar to what they're doing on stage. But I like to try and... so they're actually quite wistful in tone, a lot of the novels. By that, I mean sort of slightly depressing. But
you're selling it really well.
Yeah, yeah. If you're looking for it. Actually, this one ends quite happily.
Does it?
Yeah, the previous one is a bit sad. I would steer clear of that.
Right.
Again, this is probably not... Generally, the publicists tell me to encourage people to read the books and come to the tours, but I'm doing my best to do anti-publicity
I
here.
think your negative approach is incredibly endearing.
It's reverse psychology, you see.
It is, and it's
Nothing
working.
gets the tickets flying out the door than trying to discourage people from coming. I think, what's he trying to hide? Why doesn't he want us to come? And that is when you pounce.
Well, if you're really desperate, you can see Mark on tour across the country with Flaws with a W right now. My thanks to Mark Watson. Thank you, Mark. Yes, you're welcome. Join us after break when Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall serves up a wheat-free feast. Try saying that with your mouth full of chip. And we play tribute to a classic game show when we resurrect the golden shot from the archives. Don't go away. Find out how gin doubled the nation's intake of alcohol. And after we've tasted the latest Mother's Ruin, we're going to try and play the golden shot. Yes, we're going to drink some gin and then fire crossbows. There's an ambulance standing by. But first, proving that you don't need dairy or wheat to serve up a scrumptious meal, time for our Friday feast with Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. Thank you. Now, I spotted on the air, we were doing that gadgets with Ollie. You've got a gadget there which is part of your kitchen. What's...
I bought my favourite gadget in, Alan. Does anyone recognise what this is? Who's got a potato ricer? A few, yeah. I mean, for the creamiest mash you've ever made, they are just brilliant.
So you put your potato in the
You put your cooked potatoes in when they're tender, and they come out in these wonderful wiggly worms.
Oh, right.
They're just all creamy and
We've got one of those things shaped like an S that my wife makes me stand there doing that.
Exactly.
I should be getting one of those. Right, you're going to make something out of light and easy, I'm presuming.
This is a simple supper dish. Don't even need a knife and fork. Very quick to put together.
Right.
It's creamy beans, and the beans I've just fried a little garlic, added them to the beans, a touch of stock.
So what sort of bean?
These are butter beans, but you can use any of those good white beans, cannellini beans, a nice creamy bean. That, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to mash it down for me. But I want to get on with the sizzly bit.
Yeah.
And the sizzly bit is some nice lean minced beef. And one of the things I want to show with this dish is when we eat meat, we don't always have to gorge ourselves on huge, great roasts. A little meat goes a long way. And if we frazzle it up in the pan with a little bit of spice until we get crispy little, somewhere between meat crumbs and meatballs. That pan is very hot. But that's good because we're going to do this recipe.
You're going to get brown all over then?
Yeah, brown and then just a little bit crispy. And as it starts to brown, I'm going to add some spices. And we've got a good sizzle on here, haven't we?
We're quite quick on this show, you see. You've got about 3.5 minutes.
Well, I did promise that more than half the recipes in the book can be done in under 20 minutes.
Yeah, but not in 4.
But this one can be done in 5 or 6. It really is that simple. Don't be worried about a little bit of smoke and sizzle coming from the pan, because we want to get that mince cooked quickly. It's not like a bolognese. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic now, just to season it up. Yeah. Don't add it at the beginning or it'll burn. Yeah. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of spice. I've got coriander seeds and cumin, both of which I've bashed. Fantastic seasoning for me.
Bashing releases the flavour.
It does. It really does make a difference. And then this is where you tell me how hot do you like it, Alan? I
don't like it terribly hot, to be honest, myself.
OK, well, just a pinch of chilli and a little bit of smoked paprika. There's a lot of good flavour coming from there. Just throwing it around in the pan.
Are you getting it on the front row? Is it coming over?
You're getting a whiff of garlic. Is it smelling nice? Do you like it? One of you lovely people is going to taste this as well. How hot do you like it? We don't have to fix it Alan's way.
Yeah, now go and get him now. I'll go and get him and he can sit up here.
Medium hot. Yeah, we're not far off.
So would you like to come up? Just come up here. Here we are. And come and sit down. I'll cook for you while you work.
I need you to do a job for me here.
Okay.
If you could just pull the leaves gently off these lovely little gem lettuces, because that's going to be the bowl, if you like, for the dish. It's lovely, easy finger food.
Sir, can I ask you your name?
I'm Ray.
Ray?
Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Hi.
What's your surname?
Mears.
You're Ray Mears?
That's it, yes. The older version.
My God, my outdoor life hasn't suited your complexion, has it?
I should be thinking something else, shouldn't I?
Well, Raimi,
yeah, 3 or 4. Take a couple of the outer ones. Yeah,
all right.
Nice big
small.
ones. So
big
we
ones.
want to be. Ray looks like a man with an appetite, so we want to be nice and generous. Now, the meat is pretty much there. Do you see how it's all just a little bit crisping?
It's loose. It's, as you say, it's sort of bobbly bits. Like
Final. This is a good tip. Final seasoning of salt goes in now. If you put it in earlier, it draws the juices out of the meat, and they start simmering in a little bit of liquid rather than frying nice and crisply in the pan. So now's a good time to
things you knew that you didn't know that you learned
mash
you didn't know.
the beans a little bit. I'm sure a lot of your audience knew exactly how to do that, but the beans, you see, as I mash them, they're getting nice and creamy. I think we've done enough on the beef. I'm going to turn it off. So do you see how it...
You've mashed your beans.
I'm not putting those through my ricer because I want a little bit of texture. You're going to finish them off
I'll
for
do
me?
that. Yep.
Hold on.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you hungry, Ray?
Absolutely.
Do you like spicy food, Ray? Are you...
It smells gorgeous.
Yeah, well, it's not too late to add more chilli.
You're looking nervous.
We'll be all right. So that's perfect. Lovely creamy beans.
Got about 45 seconds, is that all right?
Yeah, perfect. Just a sprinkling of beans. How many of these do you think you could manage?
Well, I've got a plate you prepared earlier here.
Yeah, no, but this is going to be all hot and tasty. And let's go for this one.
cold. All right.
Let's go for this one. There we go. We are ready. 3 of these beauties.
I'll tell you what, you've done this in about 5 minutes. That's amazing. Not even 20.
Ready to go.
Yeah,
delicious to eat with your fingers.
Knife and fork. Have you got knife and
no,
fork?
we don't even need it. He can fold up.
Do it in your fingers.
You can use the spare lettuce leaves to make a sandwich of. I wouldn't want you to miss out on the coriander. There you go.
Now, there's no pressure here.
I hope it tastes as good.
Well, go on then, eat it. Do it with your fingers.
Enjoying.
You can use a knife and fork if you like.
He's very delicate, Ray. He's not, the real meal. He's eat all with his fingers. Is that all right?
That is beautiful.
Thank you, Ray.
For the details of Hugh's recipe, just visit our website, itv.com/Alan. My thanks to Ray and Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Well done.
Now, time for that classic British spirit known as Mother's Ruin, a G&T. Please welcome, he's eating here. A woman who knows a top tipple when she sees one and tastes one, along with award-winning barman. It's Helen McGinn and cocktail guy, JJ Goodman. Come on, Hugh. Thank you, Ray. We'll leave Ray having his tea over there. He seems quite happy. Nice to see you, Helen.
And
so,
you.
well, Helen McGinn gets to do gin, right? Helen McGinn gets to do gin.
Oh, no, it's all in the name.
So, history of gin, briefly?
So, gin, we've got the Dutch to thank for the gin, really. They started it, and the key ingredient is juniper. So, or Geneva is Dutch for juniper, hence the name gin. William of Orange brought it to London, and we went slightly mad for it, I have to say.
There's that famous Hogarth
That's
cartoon,
right, William
isn't there?
Hogarth in the 18th century. He drew, it was an etching actually, which I like to think of it as one of the first ever public health announcements as to what
This is
might
what happens
happen
if you drink too much gin. Yeah,
if you
quite
drink
well.
too much gin. So then it kind of disappeared for a while, but as with all good things, they came back again. And what is lovely now is seeing this real re-emergence of gin, particularly in London, in the city of London, where a lot of these gin distilleries once were.
Well, now, there's quite a few here for us to have a look at. We've got this Butler's gin.
So Butler's gin here, this is one that, it's in Hackney Wick, and what's lovely about this one, we'll just smell this one, taste it if you're ready to.
Just smell or a little sip as well?
Yeah. have a sip as well,
We'll be
go on.
tasting some, we're tasting some, but this is based on an old Victorian
Go on, taste.
recipe, and so, of course, it's all in the botanicals, and the botanicals in this one include lemongrass and coriander, so it's quite a floral
Are you
style,
getting
this
lemongrass
one.
and coriander?
I am, actually. It would go very nicely with that dish, because I had coriander in that as
There
well.
you are, exactly, yeah.
Right, tell us what the next one is. I'll take this one over for Ray. He's still eating over there. Go on.
Yeah.
There you are, Ray. There you are. Good gin.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Right.
So,
you can go back in the woods afterwards. All right.
So the next one, Fleet
Yeah.
Street. This lovely gin here is just the distillery is just behind Fleet Street. So
Right.
again, the first distillery to be back in the City of London for 200
I'm
years.
getting newsprint.
That is a,
I like
that is
smell
a
that.
kind of no-nonsense gin, that one.
So
It's
different, isn't it?
absolutely-
It's
yeah,
completely
no
different from the
messing.
other one.
You can be our taster.
Very pure,
You know,
very
I'll pick
pure.
you up at the end.
Well, it's clearly a different set of botanicals, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a gin question? What's
Yeah.
the difference between London gin and Plymouth gin?
Well,
that's
it's
from my part of the country.
it's a style and strength, really.
Right.
So London gin, the main ingredient has to be juniper.
Which is stronger, London or Plym?
Plymouth gin tends to be a bit sweeter as well. Plymouth gin is or more earthy in a way.
Well, we've got some tasting today because we've got gin and tonic with what?
We've got gin and tonic with Caroon, which is a Scottish gin.
JJ,
yes.
are you ready with your...
So the thing about tonic, the story goes that quinine, which is good
Oh,
for
look, he's got two
anti-malarial.
lots. JJ, what have you got there? You've got the Caroon.
You do this every Friday.
Yeah, well, most days, actually.
Yes, it's coming to mine next Friday. So the idea with gin and tonic is obviously the quinine in the tonic. In the British soldiers in India, they drank it, so it was like an anti-malarial thing. Gin's always been associated with health reasons, which I rather love. So this one was for the anti-malaria thing, which is...
Oh, absolutely.
This is just
lovely excuses. I'm drinking gin every night, dear, so I don't get malaria.
Exactly. And that is with Sipsmith gin, which again is another brilliant new gin that's... Well, it's not that new, but last few years has made a real impact on this craft gin. And then here, we've got a gimlet.
I've always wondered what a gimlet was.
Me too.
What's a gimlet?
Now we know.
This is a
gimlet.
What is it?
It's gin and lime. So JJ's made this with rose cordial, which is a traditional thing to have in there, but you've also put a twist of lime.
Just some fresh
lime in
citrus
there
in as well.
Yeah.
Just give it a bit more lift.
There's some lemon zest.
Yes, and again,
Wonderfully
you see, it's good for you because this was given to the sailors for scurvy.
Because of vitamin C.
Yes.
Vitamin C.
I'll have one of these and one of these, and I won't get malaria and I won't get scurvy.
Oh, that is just fabulous. What
Now,
a
we've
lovely,
then got-
lovely
Won't stand
gimlet.
up either when you...
No, you might not.
We've got Warner Edwards Slow Gin.
So Warner Slow Gin, which I always think is a bit of a misnomer, because the thing about slow gin is I find I tend to drink it quite fast.
Tinker when you're roused.
Because it is so smooth, and normally I wouldn't drink gin neat. Honestly, I really wouldn't. But
This one-
slow gin I would, because
This
slow
one here,
gin
though, Conker.
Conker. So this one takes its inspiration from the New Forest because it's made in Dorset.
Not with Conkers, though.
Not with Conkers. Exactly. And the chap who makes it forages, and he uses the flowers from gorse bushes, which give it a vanilla character.
And also coconutty. Now,
And a coconut,
we've done
yes.
quite a lot of cooking with gorse
Isn't it
and
funny?
brewing. And
Yes,
gorse
that's
beer tastes of coconut.
Really good, yeah. So that's
Well,
made
it's
with
because it
Conker
smells
spirit,
nice.
yes.
We've got you. I'm trying not to slur here. We've got Hughes Slow Vodka, yes, which is the... Can we bring on the last one? What's this last one? It says, JJ's Pizza Cocktail, says it.
So the thing about the slow vodka, I make slow vodka rather than slow gin, so you get the full fruit flavour without the juniper of the gin, and I think that's a really good way to represent the slow. But of course, slow gin is classic too.
And do you do sugar first or after?
I put it in at the beginning.
Oh!
I've just got this pizza cocktail. Oh, George, it's a meal in itself. I like that. JJ, what's in it?
We got working with Domino's recently, and we fat washed. We cooked down the pepperoni, macerate it in the gin, and then we used the tomato base just with some sugar, just to give it a bit more sweetness.
You're kidding.
Pepperoni.
Not at all.
How is it?
Gin and pepperoni. It's very good. It's quite
So
strong.
it's a pizza Bloody Mary.
Yeah. My thanks to Helen again, JJ Goodman from the London Cocktail Club, and Hugh Fernley Winning Store, completely sloth. Cheers. Guys, after the break, we're still here when we pay tribute to a classic game show, The Golden Shot, and we have a cultural treat for music lovers with the internationally acclaimed John Wilson Orchestra. Cheers, don't go away. Welcome back. Oh, it all gets exciting now. Still to come, the John Wilson Orchestra, whose performances of popular film soundtracks has been described as technicolor for the ears. But first, we notch up the nostalgia points with another classic game show. This week, it's the game that had the nation shouting at their TV screens, up a bit, down a bit, fire! You could say The Golden Shot was the first ever interactive game show. Viewers would phone up the studio and take control of a crossbow strapped to one of the cameras, with the help of the mysterious Bernie the Bolt.
Bernie the Bolt, if you please, and you have 30 seconds starting from now.
Some contestants were even allowed to have a go themselves.
Oh dear, This contestant has missed, so there's no score, I'm afraid.
So let's pay tribute to The Golden Shot, another game show classic. Oh, it was, wasn't it? Joining me now, like the jacket, one of the show's original glamorous assistants, Carol Hawkes. Carol, lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Goodness me. You're on Sale of the Century and Golden Shot.
Well, I did about 4 game shows in the 60s and 70s, so, yes, you've had me twice, 2 weeks running.
I know, it's wonderful fun, but, I mean, was Bob Monkhouse great to work with?
Oh, he was wonderful. He was so talented and so fast with his jokes.
Yeah.
Somebody only had to come up with one remark and he'd have a joke about that.
He had books of jokes, didn't he?
He
I
did,
remember?
he did,
Yeah.
yes.
Things must have gone wrong, though, because when you're dealing with crossbows and bolts...
Yes.
What disasters?
Well, they used to fire out fireworks from when they hit the target, but sometimes the fireworks caught light and the whole scenery would go up in flames, and it was a live show. It had to be live because they were saying up a bit, down a bit and telling the camera where to go, so it had to be live, of course. And so halfway through the show, the scenery is burning down.
Rushing on with a fire
Yes, fire extinguishers. People used to watch it for that reason.
It was the days of for health and safety, wasn't it?
It was.
You went on, though. You went on to marry...
One of the tremolos.
One of the tremolos?
Yes. Well, the tremolos came onto the Golden Shot on the 11th episode, and Chip Hawkes, the lead singer, the first words he ever said to me was, "I can see your knickers." And I thought, oh, how rude, how rude. But so we got off on a bad start.
Yes.
But 45 years married now.
And your son is Chesney Hawkes.
Yes.
And who was, very briefly, who was Bernie?
Bernie the Bolt.
Yes.
Yes. Well, he was actually a cameraman.
Good Lord.
Yes, he wasn't actually a...
He wasn't a Bernie at all?
No, he wasn't a Bernie.
Well, we'll need some contestants to fire the bolt, so please welcome Mark Watson and Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. Have a seat. Now, Hugh, do you remember it?
Do I remember it? Can I just say, what an honour! What an honour it is! You were my very first. Apologies to the tremolo, but you were my very first TV crush.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Oh, how lovely! Do you remember it? Mark?
He's too young. Too young.
Mark wasn't born. He's got it. Well, allow me to introduce you to 2 very important people: Pete, the cameraman, and in place of Bernie the Bolt, we have Andy the Sucker. OK, right, now, Hugh, you go first. You're playing here, I have to tell you, there's a play-off first. You are playing for a £20 note. This is a big prize show, this is, right? OK, so, Andy the Sucker, you can see on there what you have to do, Hugh. You have 30 seconds to hit an apple, starting from now. OK,
write a little bit, Andy. Write a bit. Keep going, keep going. Write a bit more. Write a bit more. Write a bit more. Stop there, Andy. Up a little bit. Stop. Down a little bit. Stop. Right a little bit. Stop. Fire, Andy.
Yes! Absolute. Carol, I'll leave it to you to say. You've got to tell us what we've done there. What have we done there?
OK. I think it's pretty obvious, but right on the nose, I would say.
Look at that. Yay! Wonderful. OK, Mark, your go. Andy the Sucker. Mark, for 30 seconds, the crossbow is yours. Try to hit an apple. Off you go.
OK, left a bit, please, Andy. Left some more. Left, Andy. Left, Andy. Stop. Up a bit, please, Andy. Up, Andy. Stop. Oh, down a bit, please. Down a bit, Andy. Up a bit, up a bit.
Time's running out.
Stop. Fire.
Oh, how does that compare, Carol? Quickly. How does it compare with the other one?
I'm afraid the first one was the closest to the centre.
Right,
so...
OK. That means the winner was... now gets a chance. Hugh, fire the crossbow himself. Take your place on the podium with that crossbow there. Andy will load up your sucker. You're playing for the £20 note.
Oh, I haven't won that yet.
Not yet, no. You're in with a chance, but you're going to move on here. Going to move on, or you're going to lose it. OK? Right. Here we go. You've got to try and hit that centre there. Centre side. 30 seconds. Hit the target.
Stop whirling. A bit more of a whirl.
30 seconds starting from now.
Oh, it's making me feel a bit queasy. Hang on.
We've got a jam bolt
I pulled the trigger and nothing happened.
Right?
This is pretty slick. Still not working. 40 volts.
TV's got a lot more high tech, hasn't it?
They said it was a live show. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge thank you to Carol Hawkes, Mark Watson, Hugh Fernie-Whittingstall, Pete the cameraman, and also Andy the sucker. Hugh, have a seat. Have a seat. Hugh, did it live up to your expectations?
In every single way, except possibly the bit where the trigger didn't work. But apart from that, made my day.
Harder than you thought?
I feel like I should have done it. I just, I blew it on, you know, I was put off by how well he did, but if I'd just gone a bit lower... there's no point having regrets now.
Was it every bit as bad as the original was in terms of it being live?
Well, yes.
It was, just as bad, worse. You'll clean up this floor before you
Yes,
go
I will,
now.
I promise.
Okay.
I'll get the broom out.
Time now to meet a man whose orchestra albums and UK tours have become legendary. He packs concert halls all over the country performing the work of Hollywood composers. The new album to celebrate the work of Cole Porter. We're delighted he's here today with his orchestra, John Wilson. John, absolutely lovely to see you again. I love it when this time of year comes around and you take this enormous orchestra on tour, which must be a prodigious thing to do in itself, getting everybody to the right spot.
It takes a year to organise, but mercifully I don't have to do that. I've got somebody to do that.
Got a man in. Yeah. We've had the MGM musicals, we've had Rodgers and Hammerstein, now we've got Cole Porter in Hollywood. They're all this big Hollywood sound, which is obviously what appealed to you, which we weren't really getting from anywhere else, were we?
I think audience has been starved of this sort of music for decades, 2 or 3 decades, and, you know, it takes something to go out of fashion to come back in and to be rediscovered by a new generation, by our generation.
Yeah. Hugely popular, though. I mean, concert halls are packed. You're finishing up at the Albert Hall, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, we start on the 8th of November, I think, in Bristol, tour the whole country and finish at the Albert Hall on the 25th of November. Yeah.
What a wonderful night out. It will be marvellous. John's new album, Cole Porter in Hollywood, is out now. We'll be back on Monday at 3 p.m. on ITV for another week of fun and frolics. But to play us out, the John Wilson Orchestra with Let's Do It!
And that's why birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. In Spain, the best upper sets do it. Lithuanians, and let's do it, let's do it, let's fall in love.
The Dutch in old Amsterdam do it, not to mention the Finns. Folks in Siam do it, think of Siamese twins.
In shallow shoals, English souls do it. Goldfish in the privacy of bowls do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. The chimpanzees in the zoos do it. Some courageous kangaroos do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love.
I'm sure giraffes on the sly do it, even eagles as they fly do it. Let's do it, let's fall in love. Electric eels, I might add, do it, though it shocks them, I know.
Why ask if shad do it? Garçon, the shad roll. The world admits bears in pits do it.
Even Pekinese at the Ritz do it.
Let's do it, let's fall in love. considered it fun.
Marie Antoinette did it.
With or without Napoleon.
Parliament, pleasure bent, did it.
Mamsells every time they're short of rent. Did it.
Let's do it.
Let's call